Developing a continuous improvement culture can be challenging for corporations, and it's more than that. So if you think about the root causes of the challenges, is there is resource constraints. So creating a culture of improvement is an ongoing investment. And commonly we can find like budget limitations. So if you have something that people are working on, suddenly whatever is about improvement is getting a little bit parked. There is time constraints for employees already overloaded with daily tasks, and lack of access to capabilities in process optimization. So in capabilities, I don't mean only that the employees are not capable of doing something. It's about also the resources, the tools that are required in order to take the decisions in a quick manner. I also think that there is a couple of cultural bottlenecks where we're talking about mindset, behaviors, and beliefs of employees that reflect directly with interactions with customers. My guest today is a veteran who has been fighting in two fronts: the cultural and resources constraints of employees and customer experience. Tanner Yildiz is the creator of one of the first AI platforms to live stream signal to continuously improve employee and customer experience. Tanner is also the founder of a company called App. Beautiful name, by the way. Tanner, I'm really happy that you are together with me in this episode of the Growth Hacking Culture podcast. And the reason is because we have got so many lengthy discussions already about the topic. And what I like the most is to benefit. I've been benefiting, in fact, from your technical experience and also how you perceive the world that can be, how do you call it, a little bit more, a little bit better for organizations in order to improve continuously. I also like your experience, the experience that you have in customer and an employee experience. And I wanted to know more about you. Tanner, thank you very much for making it today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Let me shoot directly to this concept that you hear very often. And I wanted to understand in your own words, how can you define this continuous improvement culture? What does it mean for you?
Well, think of it like this. It's basically a workplace where everyone is always welcome to improve stuff and always looking to do things better. And the key point is always. And it's an environment where feedback is like gold. So people shouldn't be afraid of speaking, sharing their ideas, and they should always know and be reminded that it's all about making things better. So it's not just a responsibility of a select few, but every individual in the company, but the top management to frontline employees, But I'm not just referring to improve productivity or efficiency in that manner. I'm also talking about improving the quality of your work, the happiness of the employees, and the satisfaction of the customers.
Listen, a lot of people think about the concept. They really want to do it. But I have the impression that there is always this mindset that comes into place where they think, yeah, if you have a salary, why you are not doing that? Why you are not working in improving the company, improving the processes, improving the happiness of employees? According to you, so what is the major reason why there is this friction and it doesn't happen, even if you get a good salary?
I can easily think a few factors, but one of the primary reasons is the companies or the employees are not aware of the direct link between the employee experience and the customer experience. So the organizations need to realize that a positive EX or any improvement of EX would lead to a better CX. So they need to prioritize it as a long-term goal, not just as you mentioned, they shouldn't just, due to budget constraints, they shouldn't just put it on the shelf, forget about it, and let's say discuss it in the next quarter. It's not something that you can just postpone. It should be something in your life continuously. And maybe that's the one of the main reasons it's been held back. And besides that, also, as far as I see during consultancy and reaching out to potential prospects, I've seen that most of the organizations don't have mechanisms in place to gather feedback from both employees and customers. They may have some kind of surveys in place, but I'm not talking about your quarterly or annual typical surveys, but I'm just talking about transaction-based incidents, instant-based feedbacks. So without the data and insights, they won't be able to identify the areas of improvement. So from their point of view, it doesn't make sense to invest on it since they don't know what to invest on. But if you have such a platform in place, let's assume that you managed to build something or you acquired a software to do it. The next challenge they have is mainly, what do I do with this data? Okay, I have some kind of data. So what do I do with it? And the next challenge would be analyzing it and understanding it. Luckily, with the latest tech improvements, everybody is aware of some kind of AI or machine learning coming up. So it's much easier to analyze and make sure the trends and things are building up easily. But still, you need to put your minds into it. You need to focus on it, and you need to convince yourself or the company to understand the data. And even to understand the data, you're not still done. It's not a single one-shot thing. You need to act on it. So acting on it requires you to agree on something within the company. And communicate it to the stakeholders within the company. So it's sometimes the poor communication, sometimes the resistance to change. It prevents them to implement it at this stage. But of course, if you overcome these changes, they can easily unlock their full potential, and they can make a huge difference in very short periods of time. And I've seen that in these kind of projects.
I like the point that you have put your finger in one important pain in organization is the fact that despite that, yes, most of the organizations today are throwing money. I call it throwing money for pulse surveys in order to understand what is happening with employees. The fact is that nobody's there to do something about it and start, how do you call it, assessing what is the next action. And if you do a next action, are you going to wait the following pulse survey in 6 months to find the results, if it worked or not? That's the thing. You don't have enough people to devote to analyze. And secondly, once you do an action, you have to wait. And that's shitty, right?
It is. And I mean, with the latest tech developments, as you recall, like, how many years was it? It's like 5 or 10 years ago, we were just discussing switching from near real-time data to real-time data.
Indeed.
And now we are talking about time ahead data, which is predictions that can be made with data. So without a complaint, without receiving a customer feedback or complaint, with ideally implemented solutions, you can easily predict what's coming up for you. You can start fixing the problem before the feedback reaches to you. So at this point, if you're just still stuck with your quarterly or annual surveys, I'm sorry, but the market will disrupt you at the earliest possible time,
I want to benefit a little bit more about your technical expertise, because I think a lot of people in business, I mean, are not really aware about the potential of artificial intelligence, machine learning. How can you explain to someone what it is, what it can do with the data. So we have said that it's about collecting the data. So you, in the usual world, it would be we dump it into an Excel file, and we are doing pivot tables to see if there is some interaction that we can spot, or we can highlight in red or green if something works or not. So what can exactly do machine learning and AI?
So even collecting the data will change in a few months' time, not years, just months' time. Currently, what we are used to do is, or companies are tending to do is sending out surveys, etc. But nearly everyone, every company has a chatbot, for example, in their website to ask questions, to report issues, or to look for assistance. And the good thing is they're cheap and they're there for 24/7. So there's an NLP and a simple AI working for you to run your most basic errands. It's already there. So if you put a feedback loop on it, and if you integrate some NLP, what you can easily do is during the chat, you can analyze the mood, for example, of the customer or the employee who is on the other end of the computer. So you can understand about the mood. You can understand what they are talking about. What's the topic? Is it's an issue, or it's a complaint, or it's a question? And what's this question about? What's this issue about? So you can categorize these text automatically using NLPs, basic NLP techniques. And during the chats, you can, okay, you said that this customer is, let's say, 4 out of 5 happy with our services, but he has a problem, etc., etc. And you're just reporting it like you're filling out the survey as you speak with him as a chatbot. And let's say you turn this into a friendly conversation, not just a random bot. And for each interaction, the company has 4 or 5 critical questions they'd like to ask to their customers in their surveys.
Yeah.
But let's say that in the future, you won't be sending out surveys. You'll be capturing the responses for these questions in a friendly conversation with this easiest chatbot available. This is one of the things that's coming up around the corner. So yes, the surveys will still be there, but when you get the chance, when you have a simple chatbot interaction, you can easily collect that feedback, additional questions. And since it's a friendly thing, you're making sure that you're not interrupting his daily life for having a survey call or filling out an email survey. And about these interruptions, since we started, we are trying to use AI to do some personalization algorithms, because I personally hated when in the middle of something I received a call and asking me about my experience in a car service. So this was something that terrified me. When I see a number that I don't know, I usually think if I should ignore it. Yeah, and especially if it's in the middle of the day. So what we started doing was using AI to analyze. For example, it can be both ends. It can be either employee or the customer. If it's the employee, the AI could check your schedule and look for the best available time to connect you, reach out to you during the day, since they're already aware of your schedule. And if you're a customer, the AI or the machine learning could go back to your track records with the company, identify the best times of the day, which days you like to communicate with the company. And then they say, okay, I'm going to reach out to Taner on Tuesday in the afternoon, but not via an email, but via an SMS, because he is more likely to type a response instead of clicking a link, filling in the survey. So this helps us in both ways. One is, if you're sending out a survey, your response rate increases like a huge margin. And secondly, if you're sending out a communication, your engagement increases dramatically, because you're not hurting them, and you're just there to communicate And they, at that point, when they are not under some kind of work pressure or running a school run, I mean, doing a school run, if it's not in the middle of a school run, yes, they are happy to take your call or take your email or take your text message. So also the latest developments was, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, this is the time ahead data. Currently, we managed to do it for the last 5 years with real-time data. So let's say you made a call center call, you shut down the call, you receive the text message if that is a good time for you in terms of your previous track records. And you can just give some feedback on it automatically. Then we collect the data, and the data is merged with the customer feedback, employee feedback about that call, and listed in the dashboard real time. But what we're working on right now is the time ahead data. So using this historic data, making some analysis and trying to be able to say the company, saying that, okay, you've been launching the similar campaigns for the last 3 years. And this causes this kind of troubles in the first 2 weeks of your campaigns or offers. So you should be ready and adaptive to that. So we should be giving them heads up so that instead of hearing from the employee or the customer first, they would be just adapting their internal processes. And the most critical part in adapting this internal processes, we didn't discuss this a few minutes ago. Usually, we do a change. We took the data, we understood it, we acted on it, and made a change in our processes. But this shouldn't be the end. And AI helps you at this point too. So AI and machine learning tells you how much in improvement you received from that change, if it's the best way to solve this problem, or are there any other alternatives that you could try on. So you can just use the new tech developments on that side too. So following up on each change, comparing them on each other, let's say in all terms, like a return of investment. Let's say you did some offers, you gave some freebies, whatever you did, you need to follow up on the retention of the customer, if they're happy with the latest change, if they're happy with the benefits, and if they are, what's the cost of it on my end, and what's the optimal way to spend my budget. So this optimization will save you money, and then you won't be able to get around and say we're out of budget. So you'll be saving money to do continuous improvement via continuous improvement, actually.
Look, Tanner, I have to be sincere. Let me see if I have understood, because there are some areas that if somebody hears it, will say this is science fiction, it will happen, but not yet. Because from one side, you are telling me AI, machine learning helps me to understand the emotions of the customer, the context. So in fact, a 10 minutes conversation can be summarized with just a couple of words. Let's say that he complained about this, and that was his emotion at that moment. You are telling me also AI can detect the best moment to reach him out, the best means to reach him out, so that I have more chances of getting feedback, because only with feedback we can get some shit done at work. And you are even telling me, so there is going to be some actions that you are going to do, Ivan. You are going to put some money to change the reality of that customer or that employee, and you need to see if there is a return, there is a change on the action. And you are telling me again, Ivan, AI will sort it out for you. So is that science fiction, or we have to wait 10 years, or is it like now, Tanner?
I mean, most of it is already here. And the rest, the remaining 10 to 15% is a few months away, not 10 years. So this is the time that you need to discuss internally with, I mean, the companies should discuss internally and decide if they'll be on board and they'll be one of the first conquerors. Because it's not just a fever, I mean, hype coming in and going out. It's not, you can easily see that people working on these industries and on machine learning and AI already been making billions out of it just by offering you the platforms and using your data if you don't want to pay for it. So it's here, and the rest, the remaining 10% will be here before this year ends.
Huh. And in terms of to get ready, so a company wants to gather to use this, start collecting the data automatically, and use it as a currency to in order to have a sustainable differentiation with competitors. So in order to implement this type of solutions, should I like hire couple of data scientists, a specialist of AI, and put my 2 millions on the plate? Or are we like, this is not expensive anymore?
It depends on where you are in terms of your infrastructure. I mean, if you're a company running your business via Excel, then yes, you need to invest. But if you're talking about an enterprise or even a SME running all their businesses on clouds, having some kind of data structure out there, have a customer base, a CRM saved in a timely manner, and you have an employee database. So you just have these data in some kind of cloud platform. Then this means that, yes, it's not that hard for you. All you need to do is implement some data lakes, simple data lakes, invest on some cloud-based platforms. And then next step is you need to build some AI and machine learning expertise. But it's not easy, and but it's not expensive. So there's a trade-off there. It takes time to get this knowledge inside. But since it's such a demanding area, I've been talking to clients that invested on their employees, and then the employee decided to leave the company with all these new skill sets and just double their salary for another company. So it's not just about hiring data scientists and BI engineers, but it's first thing is make sure the company is on board on this in a total base. Now, everybody should be on board of that. It's not just an IT task. It's not just a procurement task, or it's not just a recruitment or training task. So everybody should be on board. If they're on board, then you can either build your AI and machine learning expertise internally through training programs, or you can run a hiring initiative and hire some people, or also you can easily partner with technology vendors like us. So in our case, or for companies similar like us, what we usually do is hire for the services we provide. So the fee won't be expensive, but it may not be cheap depending on where you start from. If you're starting from Excel, yes, there's a long way to go. But if you're already on cloud-based, if you already have your data lakes and stuff, or a data center, for at least a data center, then it's much easier to run basic analysis, start small. And I'm not just meaning starting small to say as a proof of concept or proof of technology. What I would do is, if it was my company right now, I would just start with one pain for my company that I spend money on, and let AI and machine learning fix it for me permanently. And if it's a continuous payout, at some points it will mitigate the money that I've paid for the vendor will mitigate my costs. So the rest of the money is saving for the next implementation. So I'll go to my second improvement, then third improvement, then fourth improvement. And if you select your partners wisely, they will let them or they'll guide you about the potential uses of AI and machine learning for you, instead of just implementing what you say. They can say, okay, you're there. It's not just selling at a chatbot, but also offering them, okay, since you have this chatbot, regardless of who you purchased it from, you have a chatbot and it has some kind of NLP capability. Let's reuse it so that we can use this in collecting feedbacks too. So instead of doing some outbound calls to collect feedback or sending out emails, you'll save time, money, and get much accurate feedback instead of doing face-to-faces. So it will save you time and money. So yes, this is an investment, but this investment will cover itself very soon.
So, but if I understood correctly, today I am, and I have to disagree about the exact wording that you have used, because, okay, there is the SMEs and big corporations, but today a startup already starts by using any SaaS product, like having a minimum ERP, HubSpot for the CRM or whatever. We all use that because it's so affordable today. It's like a couple of $10 here and there. Okay, at the end it makes a huge amount, but
Subscriptions add up.
so what you're saying is that today a company can, as long as they're not using Excel, they can come to Tanner and say, hey, these are my systems. Can you do something about it? You will put it into your AI magician hat, and you will help them to get this kind of continuous feedback where everything is feeding the AI brain. The AI brain is putting some results, some summaries that can help you out, do the action, and even improve that action, because maybe the next action, yeah, gives you results, but it's super, super duper expensive, right?
Yeah, I mean, the simplest thing the AI will do is, even if you have the simplest infrastructure, what it will do for you is, let's say there are like hundreds of questions you want to ask out, and AI will decide which 5 or which 10 of them suits for this particular customer. So you'll just target the right customer and don't ask irrelevant stuff and don't annoy people and get fruitful data. So it will start from that end, and it will take you to the other end, the ultimate solution, where it will follow up on your actions and say, okay, return of investment of this action doesn't seem feasible compared to this one. Where it's like 50-50 right now. Let's switch it to 90-10. So you can save money, because the overall effect on the customer satisfaction and the employee satisfaction and the business result doesn't make sense, that the money you spend, because you're not making that much of money at the end of the day for this action. So it's a journey. As you mentioned, you can start small or you can go all in. It's totally up to your vision, strategy, and maturity of the company in terms of continuous improvement. It's not just AI maturity or technological maturity. It's the company culture is very crucial.
We are going to discuss about this company culture, but I just wanted the takeaway of what you just said, it is that, yes, you can start small or you can go all in, but it's almost like the option of waiting. It is really risky, right? It seems to me that everybody's talking AI. Everybody has already started, not everybody, but a big chunk of the big corporations. So I'm thinking already the big ones, even if they are a little bit traditional, like, I don't know, we take Danone in France, French are traditional or whatever. Let's criticize a little bit the French. I mean, they are even investing on that. I just read it.
I mean, even the governments are usually the last to proceed in tech developments, right? Even they passed the law in EU Council. It's been like how many days? A few days ago. They discussed and approved the new AI laws. So it's written what we can do with your data, how we can use the data, and what the AI can do, what we can teach the AI and not. Even they are ready. So enterprises or the companies or the professionals should not be missing that out.
And that bring me back to what you just mentioned before about It's not about the readiness in terms of how much resources, budget we need to put, because you can decide how to start, uh, or the maturity of the technology, because today we are in the last 1 year and a half, it has been exponential. The growth of AI in everybody's life. But it's more about the readiness of your culture, because if people put resistance to that, if they're not used to, and you said it quite nicely, if they cannot speak up, if they cannot provide ideas, this is going to hell. So you are going to invest into AI, into a system to capture, to link employee experience to customer experience for nothing, because nobody will use it.
I mean, even the worst case scenario in that cases, if you're not willing to go in the right direction in terms of company culture, implementing such an employee experience monitor based on AI will position you as a cop. You'll be copying and looking around what they are doing it and the feedback they receive from the customers, and you'll be just giving them the bad feedbacks and complaints about the customers in their services. It's not the way to take. So I'm just underlining it again. Your culture should be at least willing to evaluate in the right direction. You cannot be that maybe you're not there. Maybe you have some way to go, but at least you need to change and you know what the right thing is. I mean, please don't call us or any AI tech company to ask for a software to monitor their employees' usage of their times. That's terrible. It's like policing. Luckily, laws prevent us to do that. But you should be focusing on the good things or the improvement areas and make sure they are feeling safe in their feedbacks. That's why instead of implementing an internal solution, using a software as a service, SaaS platform, or a third-party solution, third-party partner is a bit handy and safer in that manner. Because, for example, our contracts, we don't let any company to see any feedback, I mean, with the name next to it. So yes, if it's a customer, they can see that. If it's an employee, to keep safe of their track records and make sure that they are not behaved badly regarding to this data. We are not sharing, we are anonymizing it, and we are just collecting it data. We are relating it with the customer data. We know who served this customer, and then we can correlate it. But we are not giving them any kind of raw data, keeping it private. They'll just play with the trends, the analysis. There's already a lot out there to play with this data trends and stuff. But for culture, yes, I mean, it simply influences how you treat your colleagues, how you treat your stakeholders, how you treat your customers. So it's crucial to have the right mood or the right direction in that manner.
There are two things that you made me think while you were talking. One is the initial use of cameras at work. So one of the initial uses, it was to monitor people. And what is crazy is like the stuff that you wouldn't do in Europe because that is protection laws. I saw it not so many years ago, like probably 6 years ago, 5 years ago. French companies activating the camera in the laptop just to check if the remote workers were doing the job. How can you feel? I mean, especially if you are working in a very creative environment, you cannot be monitored because you are not a machine. You are a human being.
And you're being very polite by saying monitoring. It's actually policing. You're just
yeah.
It's a way, it's the best way to show someone distrust. You're by turning it on, you're automatically saying that you don't trust them. And if someone don't trust me, why would I help them to improve their processes or their business? I would say, okay, here's my salary, give me my paycheck, here's your service. That's it. It's like a strictly professional relationship. But if you manage to pass by it, if you let them talk, get that feedback, not use anything against them, but to improve the business you're doing. And if you do it, then shout out everyone saying that we received this feedback, we acted on it, and we received this kind of outputs, I mean, increase in our outputs or customer satisfaction. So kudos, keep up the good work. Please don't keep yourself to the back. This way you can start the wheel turning. Otherwise, turning on the camera or doing some keystroke analysis is the worst thing you can do with this technology. Luckily, laws are coming in, so they won't be able to do it
I wish
anymore.
just that the laws are applicable all over the world.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, human nature, we tend to take advantage of loopholes. And then we say, oh, in that country, we need to do it. Yes, they are not like us. Anyways, so coming back to the point and takeaway of this last part of the conversation, it was like technology is here. We cannot miss it. And it's made to enhance human capabilities. It's not for monitoring. It's like an additional 2 or 5 arms that we can get in one shot to do things that we enjoy more, that let us use our brain in the way we imagine ourselves, not like in a factory.
Yeah, I mean, for example, the best example I like is let's say you have a CRM data with 100 different demographics, their age, gender, behavioral analytics, etc. You have hundreds of columns. And in order to some engineer, BI engineer, or some analyst within the company to come up and look for the anomalies, they need to build 100 different graphs, 100 different charts. And if you want to go a step more deeper and go into by the company's regions, then it goes up to like thousands of reports, thousands of charts. And if you're going one step further, like let's say the ones that Taner took care of, then you need to build tens of thousands of more of reports. So, which is not sustainable, which is not doable. So what we used to do is just focus on the top 5% of the problems, focus on the 20% of the issues, and don't dig in, but just look above the surface. What's AI good at is you don't have to worry about it. It will go in because he doesn't have a sense of free time or work time. As soon as the service is running, he's happy to do what you say. He'll happy to go dig and try to find some trends, anomalies for you on your behalf. So in the morning when you wake up, you turn on your laptop, it will be ready out there saying that, okay, I stayed up all night and I'm happy to do that. And I built these reports for you. And these are the charts that I found. These are the anomalies. These stores need to be revisited. This customer needs to be called. These ones need to be emailed about these topics. So it will just come up with a daily plan for you. And next step, you can automate your actions too, but I'm not sure if you want to make yourself so redundant. But yes, it's coming up too. These machine learning NLP based assistants are already in the market. So yes.
So Taner, basically you're telling me very soon and maybe even tomorrow, I can turn on my laptop, see my avatar of Tanner. He will tell me the top 5 things that are working or not working as a CEO of my company. Will tell me this is not working. You could maybe recommend, this avatar will recommend some actions. Is it tomorrow, like the next day, or is it in a couple of months?
The avatar part, if you're
No, forget about the avatar, about just
thing, yes, it's not there. But if you're expecting the results, the outputs, yes, it's already here.
Nice.
It's here. And the good thing is, I mean, good thing for us, but bad thing for who is not in the market yet is, or in the AI or machine learning is, most of their competitors are having it. And in the future, even if you try to hire like 100 BI engineers, you won't be having the same capabilities of computational power with them. So it's getting tougher and tougher, and we are going to a corner that will just disrupt the markets, when we were just buying old cassettes, then CDs and everything, then digital music raised up, and in a few months they were all shut down. We started to purchase all online music and stuff, all the movies right now, the streaming services. I personally cannot recall the last time I went to a cinema. So, and the disruption was, this was an habitual things. This was a fun thing that you do, and it's hard to get rid of fun things. But if it's just a business as usual thing, and if you find an easier and cheaper way, it's very easy for some customer to drop you for another company if they're offering it the same thing with cheaper or offering slightly better experience with the same price. And what they're doing is cutting their costs using AI and machine learning, and improving their experiences with analyzing the feedbacks through NLP. So is some kind of threshold we're at right now.
Daniel, 2 points. One about the cinema. I went to the movie theater last week in a village. That's number one. And I did it to escape my daughters, just with my wife. The second thing is that, and it's a little bit of a reflection of the competitive environment in the area where you are working. So many organizations, many software developers, especially in the ERP side, they are already working on integrating artificial intelligence to assess the data. And I have the impression, and correct me if I'm wrong, that, I mean, if it is Oracle working on that, they will make it work good only with their ERP. Or they will sell the idea that go and replace your SAP with Oracle because we have the AI. But at the same time, SAP is certainly working on it. So there is many big software development companies working on that specific area. And then from one side, we have the disruptors. So like your company, who have been working on that specific area, who doesn't even care about what system can be integrated because everything can be read. So how do you see this competition? Is the startups or small companies who are working on it are going to beat the shit out of the big companies?
I mean, let me ask you the question. Currently, Microsoft has an AI out there, the big brother. Google is an AI out there, big brother. And when you need to ask something, which AI are you using? I guess it's ChatGPT.
No, I'm using Bard or now Gemini, sorry.
Okay. So you're not in the, let's say, in terms of usage, you are not in the higher bit, but a smaller group.
Yeah.
I personally use Gemini too sometimes, but I can say that most of my traffic for personal things, if I need to write a thank you card or if I need to order some kind of flowers for my wife, it's ChatGPT. And they are not one of the big brothers. And they are the leading partner right now. They're doing the best in the market. I can easily say that. So it's not just about how big you are or how old are you in the market. And also the quality of AIs or the usage of AIs, we need to focus on something. There will always be better solutions in AIs in the market, but you need to consider that there's no single AI that does everything. All AIs are mainly platforms to implement your, let's say, commands or prompts. So you need to look into when you're trying to acquire an AI solution. It doesn't have to be a CX one, but any AI solution. Even if it's some calendar optimization tool, you need to look into that specific market, that plugin, who is doing it best. Because in order to do that, I would, instead of buying it a big AI company, I would personally go and buy it from a small development company who has experience in building calendars for the last 10 years. And from my point of view, I've been developing customer experience and employee experience and engagement surveys and measuring them, analyzing them for more than 10 years now. and with this company only. Previously, I already have some background on that. And I can say that even when I sit on the table with some potential prospect, I know what questions they need to ask and which ways to ask it and which wordings they should use or should avoid just from the beginning too. So it's not just the AI, but also you need to look for some subject matter expertise when you're looking for this partner in that way.
I love this conversation, Tanner. We are reaching the end of this episode on continuous improvement culture. We have been discussing a lot about technology, but especially we have been discussing about this area between the link of employee experience and customer experience, which is a little bit your core, in fact, Tanner. What the hell? I have to mention it. The core of what you do is your obsession maybe with this idea that both are interlinked, and that being successful in today's world is about the implementation of being able to create these feedback loops between a lot of data that nobody reads into making it meaningful in order to take the next action in a corporation, so that you can really take the edge, because anyone now can access this information. It's not that expensive anymore to have a solution that can be integrated with AI. And if you miss the train, you are done, right?
Yeah, totally.
Tanner, if anyone listening to this episode wants to reach you out, how can they reach you out?
I mean, I can even drop my contact details below the video, or they can look for HEP Consulting online.
Yep. So I will be putting the website of HapCon, your LinkedIn profile also.
My LinkedIn profile would work because I'm a fan of using LinkedIn, so it's my Twitter.
That's good. Tanner, thank you very much and for the lovely discussion. And really, it helped me expand a lot of conversations that we have already started about the topic. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Yeah.